Esto es Que te valga verga.
El canal de Rodolfo Díaz nos trae algunos consejos y muestras de cómo realizar nuevos diseños en tu libreta de dibujos. Demasiado curiosa y agradable la forma en la que nos enseña sus propios diseños, bajo un personaje con el que tiene ya bastante tiempo desarrollando. Si te gusta dibujar, créeme que te interesa este contenido.
So I hope you like it, and let's start with the first idea. Okay, the first idea is to draw our original character as if he were on the cover of a magazine. This time I chose the magazine Vogue or OG. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the point is that I chose this magazine because I think it's more geared towards fashion and I think my original character would really like it. By the way, this is Eric, my original character. I've mentioned him in several videos, but if you haven't seen him before, here's an image so you can find him. Basically, I drew them first on fairly thin paper and then I traced them onto a thicker sheet that I painted with acrylic markers so that it would be a little firmer. Then I used random materials, from post-its to stained or torn sheets of paper, and I also added elements that I drew. For example, I drew Eric's name directly on the paper, but then I added some phrases from song lyrics, specifically from Conan Gray, with random pieces of paper. As I told you, I was mainly painting with acrylic markers to cover the areas more generally, but then I was adding colored pencil to deepen it, also to give that effect of volume to the elements like the stars or the circles that are behind the character. I was using it a lot to give it that volume, basically to add shadows. I insist that you can basically do any other magazine that you want. At first I was thinking of using Rolling Stone, but the truth is that the Rolling Stone logo is too complicated to try to replicate it. I mean, I could, but I didn't feel like it, so I said, this is easier. And I really liked it. I also really liked the outfit that I was making for Eric. I feel like I'm finding more and more details about the character that I didn't think about so much before. The idea is that all these poses are full body poses so that on top of that we can draw different combinations of outfits or different combinations of clothes. The idea is to be able to design these outfits and match them with the character and their personality. As I mentioned, drawing clothes wasn't something I was really interested in before, but lately I've been trying to delve deeper into Eric's character, who is the only character I've drawn more than twice. I was thinking about doing that at first, but I like the idea of drawing it on paper like that better. I was using colored pencils because it's a comfortable technique, and since I had to draw several characters in full body and varying them with clothes and lots of accessories or details, I thought about using a more comfortable technique to make it a little easier to draw them.
¿Eres fan del Señor de los Anillos? El siguiente video te interesa. El canal de Christopher Claflin nos muestra con base a una miniatura del mundo fantástico, realizada por él mismo, los caminos recorridos en cada una de las películas, al menos de las 3 primeras. En el video nos narra un poco de todo el proceso.
The paths of every character in the Lord of the Rings from start to finish as laid out in the films, as well as explore what happened to the members of the Fellowship and where they went after the events in The Return of the King. And I promise you that after this video is over, you'll never watch these movies in the same way, for the better. So before we begin, there's a few things that I want to point out about this map. Before we follow the path of some of our favorite characters from the films and literature, this map has 3D printed landmarks on it to indicate key features or places from the books and the films. And you can see I have a small Tower of Orthanc here to represent Isengard. We have Helm's Deep, the lonely mountain with Smaug, and the gates of Erebor. So the Fellowship of the Ring begins in the Shire, and I actually have Bilbo's Hobbit hole shown here to mark Hobbiton. And it's here that Gandalf and Frodo both realize that Bilbo has been in possession of the One Ring all along from the very beginning. Now Gandalf understands the danger that this implies. So meanwhile we have Strider, who leads the hobbits away from Bree and off to Weathertop, where Frodo is stabbed by the Witch King. Strider then takes the hobbits into the Trollshaws, the location from The Hobbit where Bilbo and Gandalf turn these trolls into stone, and it's here where Strider hunts for the Athelas plant, meets Arwen, and sends Frodo off with her. She rides west to the Bruinen River, where she summons water horses and washes away the Nazgul. And I actually have mini water horses printed on the map in a transparent resin designed to match the color of the water here, so if Theoden moves his people too late, Saruman's army could beat them to Helm's Deep and catch them out in the open. And without the Riders of Rohan, it's game over. So Gandalf leaves Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli at Edoras as he takes off riding around the Rittermark looking for Theoden Theoden and his loyal riders, giving himself 3 days to accomplish the task, knowing how long it will take before Saruman's army arrives at Helm's Deep. So while the 3 hunters, Eowyn, Theoden, and the people of Edoras make their way across the rolling hills of the White Mountains, Frodo and Sam are probably somewhere between Caer Andros and Ithilien, and this is where they're captured by Faramir. He takes them here, to Henneth Anun, a hidden outpost behind a water. Frodo and Sam are alive, and this decision means the entire surviving fellowship, aside from Frodo and Sam, with the forces of Rohan and Gondor, march east to the Mountains of Shadow, where they turn north up through Aemon Muel to arrive at the Black Gate. And this is a huge trip that happens in just a few seconds in the movies. In fact, speaking of a longer film, we could have probably added another 15 to 20 minutes to the Return of the King showing this journey.
Maneskin es una banda italiana formada en 2016 y conformada por 4 integrantes, de los cuales claramente destacan el vocalista Damiano David y la bajista Victoria De Angelis. Cuando salió el cover de la canción Begging, odié la canción y a la banda, ya que la canción la escuchaba en todos lados y eso harta. No es sino hasta algunos años después que una persona me recomienda escuchar más de su música. El canal de Loneliest Channel nos trae esta presentación de Maneskin con la canción que le hace honor al canal,